Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Inside Sim Racing Touring Car Championship for Round 1 here at Summit Point Raceway. My name is Kyle Strachars. I will be your commentator from Sim Racing Streams, and we are here for a action-packed 25-minute race around this circuit here. So SCCI, all new iRacing League, all new series, all new time to start up here in iRacing. So we're going to have a very, very interesting race here today. So SCCI, very different than many other leagues, actually runs multiple cars throughout a 25-minute sprint race. So this is very different compared to some other series where it's just one car on one track. So let's take a look at the 5 cars that make this series what it is. So we have the STL, or Super Touring Light class. You can notice on the broadcast we'll have STL for what cars are this. So basically, we're running a Kia Optima. It's a very different car than you would think compared to all the other cars. You got front-wheel drive, most horsepower. This will be the fastest car on the track. You also have a sequential transmission, which is extremely different compared to all the other cars. All the other cars of which having a H-pattern or direct selection gearbox. Touring 2 Class 4 Mustang, our second fastest class, 325 horsepower, 3,600 pounds. You'll notice on the broadcast we'll have T2. Touring 3, our most popular class in this series, we have the Mazda MX-5 Cup with 125 horsepower, and we are of an H-pattern direct selection gearbox. Super Touring Under, Volkswagen Jetta TDI, 168 horsepower. It's a diesel engine, very different than all the other cars here running on gasoline. We also have an H-pattern gearbox in this car. Broadcast will be noted by the STU logo, which is black with the letters STU. And Touring 4, our slowest class, but not the least competitive for any reason. Pontiac Solstice is 177 horsepower, an H-pattern gearbox, 2,948 pounds. So these are our 5 classes that will be running in the SCCI Touring Car Championship. Currently wrapping it up, 36 seconds remaining in qualifying. Let's take a look at where everyone stacks up. So, currently on pole we got Jan Hoffman in the STL class with a 112. Second place we have Jack Godden, and third place Thorsten Helgeson, third place in STL. Moving up to our Touring 2, 2 of these cars on the grid today. We have Cameron Breyer, Rick James. That's the order for those guys. In the MX-5 class, very, very popular class, we have Dan Cardio, Gary Anderson, Joe McDonald, Robert Lundgren. Those are your top 4. In the T3 class. T4, Jake Johansson with 16 seconds behind the leader, Jan Hoffman in STL. And last but not least, Aaron Cummings wrapping 5th in the MX-5 class. So, finishing here, getting ready for the first ever SCCI Inside Sim Racing Touring Car Championship race at Summit Point, 25 minutes. Very short race, but the racing will be nowhere near short. Cars being very equal and very close together for the entirety of this race. Should be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. You should have got my camera packs loaded here. So we are gridding minute 51 till the cars begin to roll off the grid. 1 minute, folks. I have to restart my overlay. Give me 1 minute here. Cars are gridding. Should be very great. This is a moment that we've all been waiting for the last few months here, getting this league underway. 5 different classes. Going to make it very, very interesting, very, very close racing. So let's take a look at our grid for today's race. Starting off on pole today, we have Jan Hoffman running a 140.39 in the STL class, followed by Cameron Breyer with a 140.39. Very close times, as you guys can see. Jack Godden rolling off third. Fourth, Robert Ludgren. Fifth, Dan Cardio. Sixth, Joe McDonald in the 855. Seventh, Jake Johansson. Well, we are having some issues right here. Looks like, okay. Sorry, folks, we're just having some issues with the gridding here, so let's go through the results here and see where everyone is stacked up. Jan Hoffman on pole, followed by Cameron Breyer. Third, Jack Godden. Fourth, Robert Ludgren. Fifth, Dan Cardio. Sixth, Joe McDonald. Seventh, Jake Johansson. Eighth, Thorsten Helgeson. Ninth, Rick James. 10th, Aaron Cummings. And 11th, Gary Anderson, rounding off your field today for the first ever Inside Sim Racing Touring Car Championship race at Summit Point, 25 minutes. Let's take a look at the weather for today. 68 degrees Fahrenheit, track temp 78.8, humidity 48%, and it is mostly cloudy here at Summit Point. Information of the track: Summit Point, USA. Track is just under 2 miles. Track temp is 78.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Altitude 629.62 feet, and 10 corners around this 2-mile circuit. Let's get up with our leader to see where everyone stacks up. Jan Hoffman, the first ever pole sitter for the SCCI Touring Car Championship. Cars are getting lined up. We have a grid of, it looks like, about 3 Kia Optimas starting off here, which is our fastest class, 2 Mustangs, a whole boatload of MX-5s, and 1 Pontiac Solstice. No Volkswagen Jetta showed up for the first race, folks. Carter Kundinger, one of the more talented SCU drivers here, cannot make it due to complications, but he will be back tomorrow morning for the Sunday race. And in the 2 weeks, we'll also be at Sebring, so that should be interesting too. Pace car getting ready to pull off on a pit road. We're getting ready for the first ever green flag being waved in SCCI. Pace car is off. The 11 car field set to roll down.
Green, green, green.
We are green flag racing. 25 minutes remaining here at Summit Point. Jan Hoffman getting a great jump on the start. Already a few 2/10 ahead, but Jack Godden looking on the outside can't get anything done. Let's fall back to see how the Touring 2 cars stepped up on the start. Cameron Breyer already off to an early lead. Looks like he has a little over a half a second lead over Rick James. And moving into the Mazdas, the freaking powerhouse of this series, so many of them, Dan Cardio currently in the lead with a pretty nice gap over second place. Everyone looks like they have gotten through the start clean. Falling back all the way to the Pontiac Solstice, Jake Johansson. The only Pontiac is going to get a free win here. Getting back up with our leaders, Jan Hoffman and Jack Godden, still battling very close here in the STL class. Also, one thing to note, guys, the yellow letters are the class position, just to keep that in mind. So if you see the yellow letters, that is the class position. And anyways, Jack Godden looking into the inside to try to take the lead on lap 1. Looks like he might be able to get it. He does. New leader up in the STL class. They are side by side coming up through turn 2. This is going to be a little bit of a sketchy turn here. Hoffman still can't keep it in front, falls right behind our new leader, Jack Godden. Jack from UK and IRL with he's a pretty safe driver, rocking an A 4.34 safety rating as well as an I rating of 2,079. Very clean driver, Jack Godden still leading. Great job by him making that pass clean. Let's take a fallback into our Touring 2 category. Looks like Cameron Breyer off to a very early lead. Looks like Rick James it's a couple seconds behind, but still a lot of racing. Even though this is sprint racing, there's still a lot of time. And the Mazdas, Dan Cardio, still our leader. Great job by him managing to lead the first 2 laps. Following back to my buddy from the Angels of Death clan, Robert Ludgaren. This dude's a great guy, great friend of mine. He's a great race car driver too. He handles his car pretty well. And the 89 Clan AOD.net machine, currently running comfortably in the 4th position. Coming back up to the STL, very close racing in these cars. They're going to be getting ready to lap the Pontiacs very soon. These cars are very fast, fastest cars in the series. Jan Hoffman trying to gain it. Looks like Jan was a second slower than, well, a little less than a second slower than Jack, but Jack is beginning to pull away. Let's ride along with Jack for a lap here around Summit Point. So Summit Point, 2-mile circuit. Very fun circuit. It's a free circuit on the iRacing service, so it's a great track to learn on. Very fun. It's a very, very fast circuit. So here he goes, downshifting very hard on the brakes into turn 1. Comes through turn 1. Oh. Folks, you're having a little bit of an issue here in a second. Alright, fix that issue. But, yeah, we missed the sweeper of the turn. That's one of the harder turns on the circuit. This left-hander, very hard braking zone as well. Coming through this very slow section. A right, left, right through this little kind of a chicane, but it's really not. But very difficult. You gotta have nice throttle control through here. Up around the bend. Up onto this this straightaway here. Good way to start thinking your entry for this turn. Up here, which is probably the most important. It is a lot more hard of a turn than you think it is. 90-degree turn, you gotta slow down a lot, and onto the straightaway, and that is a lap around Summit Point Raceway. Let's take a fall back down to our T4 class. Jake Johansson made up a position over Aaron Cummings. Aaron Cummings may have had an issue. Yes, Aaron is in the pits, but Jake Johansson, excuse me, currently first in the Kia class. Great job by him. Running together, and I believe that is a Domino's machine. So racing for Domino's Pizza. Getting back up to the top of our T3 class, we have Dan Cardio, Joe McDonald. Those are the 2 battling guys. Robert Ludgren falling a little bit back, 6 seconds behind the car in front. A lot of racing left. Gary Anderson also running third in the T3 class. Excuse me. Coming back up to the T2 guys. Looks like Rick James has a very, very sizable lead over Dan Cardio. Dan, 7 seconds, or excuse me, not Dan. Rick is 10 seconds behind Cameron. So Cameron, great job by him leading up front for a lot of this race. Back up front with Dan Cardio and Joe McDonald battling it out for the lead in the Touring 2 category. Talked to Dan before the race. He's very excited. He said he really enjoys running the Mazda here. So great guy, he's a really nice guy, great driver as well. So now the MX-5, one of the newer car added to iRacing, the new Global MX-5. This is the brand new body for 2016. Great little car to drive, very fun to drive. They are pretty simple to drive, but they also, to get a nice pace, you're going to have to drive a little bit crazy. A little bit wild, to say, just because the car, it's not unstable or anything, it's just kind of don't got a lot of grip, and it's very light. So a setup, very key player in the MX-5, but the MX-5, great car, I love driving it. Very fun. Going back up top to Jack Godden, currently still holding off his lead over Jan Hoffman, and they are actually going to be getting ready to lap some guys here. I believe that is not Jake, I believe it's Aaron Cummings. No, it's not Aaron Cummings either, but they are moving. They're going to lap. Oh, that is Robert Lundgren in the ClanAOD.net machine. Clean passes, clean passes. Leaders, very, very close together, keeping it together, making pace with each other. They are within a tenth of each other now, folks. Fall back to our Touring 2. Dan Cardio and Joe McDonald still battling it out side by side. Only less than a second gap, not even. These two cars are very close. Should be keep an eye on. These two guys are very strong. Nine minutes into the 16-minute sprint race. Also, Sunday, the race should be really interesting. Will not be broadcasted here because I'll be actually running in it, but the race tomorrow, actually, believe it or not, the qualifying times are already set in this race. They are the second fastest qualifying time, just like SCCA does. So qualifying is going to be a little bit different, depending if these guys made 2 laps or not, but me, I'll be sent to the back because I did not qualify in the session because I am broadcasting. So that should be interesting, but don't worry, that will be streamed on my other channel, on Twitch, the in-car, which is Square Stars. Check that out. Very cool stuff. Coming back up to our leaders, Jack Godden, dominating so far. Led 6 out of the 7 laps, and now he's going to lead a 7th. And here they're coming up to the MX-5 leaders. 4 cars. This should be very interesting to see how these guys navigate around these guys. And Jack Godden goes off track, loses the lead to Jan. As Jan's going to get ready to go around the T2 leaders. Makes it around turn 2. Very sketchy part to pass. Looks like Joe's going to, or excuse me, no. Dan Cardio's going to slow up a little bit to that turn. But no problem. He's been fast all weekend. He should be able to catch right back up to make some good racing. Take a ride along with Dan here. Touring 3 class, a fellow New Yorker just like myself. Currently first in his class. 6th overall, guys. So we got 5 cars ahead of him, folks. MX-5, pretty much a bone stock race car. Not really got stock interior, got some carbon fiber up there, which is Mazda Motorsports, but I mean, for the most part, you're running a stock car. And as Thorsten flies right around Dan, not a lap down, but he is 6 seconds behind the leaders. But he is doing good. He's looking very, very good. Moving back up front, Jan Hoffman coming up to lap some of the Mustangs, but looks like uh, Godden still hasn't really gained a lot since that spin. These guys have been running very similar lap times, remember that, but still we are only 12 minutes in, folks. We still got half the race left. We are almost to the halfway point. I believe 12. Yeah, at 12:30 that will be the halfway distance to the end of the first ever SCCI race. So very good turnout in my opinion. We got pretty nice field. All the cars can be competitive as Jan Hoffman goes a little bit off right there, but the cars are all close. Very great racing to watch as Jan comes up to lap Jacob Johansson, I believe, for the second time. Right along with Jan once again here as he leads the field. Take a look at Jack here. Again, doing a phenomenal job. Great guy. Goes up the hill right there. I believe this is the all-new iRacing spectator view as well. This is a pretty nice camera view. 22 car. See the numbers pretty well. Take a look at Robert Lundgren, still lap down. I mean, there's still a lot of racing left. Currently 25 seconds down, but I mean, 10 minutes left. I mean, listening up to the guys in front, he really isn't going anywhere, but he's still looking good. Not a lot of incidents, but just a little bit slower than the pace, but he is doing great. Moving back up front, Dan Cardio and Joe McDonald still battling side by side. These guys have been at it all race, folks. Jan Hoffman still kind of starting to pull away from the 22 of Jack Godden. Jack had an early lead until he had a little mishap going off track in turn one, that very hard braking zone. Seeing a lot of issues there. Let's fall back to Jack here. Let's ride along inside his Kia to see exactly what he's seeing right now. So he's got a lot of Kia in his face right there. Now the Kia, I've had experience in this. I've ran the Kia in the 24 hours of Nürburgring. The car is extremely weird to handle because of the front wheel drive. You can kind of get into the gas really early because the car is front wheel drive and it steers really good. But it's like he's going to try to make a move soon. He's getting a lot of draft. These cars do give a lot of draft. They got those pretty big spoilers on the rear. Looks like Jan goes a little bit high, but still no room for Jack to get around him. Haven't talked about the T2 guys. Cameron Breyer. Huge lead. He is very far behind, or ahead of Rick James. Rick James, 23 seconds behind. Very similar to Robert's time. But Cameron dominating, winning. I believe he's led all the laps in his class. But that Touring 2 Grip TV machine looks really, really good today. Not a scratch on it. Followed back to our MX-5s. Dan Cardio and Joe McDonald currently just lapped Jake Johansson. We're just going to go look at him. Let's take a look at him in the T4 class. Looks like he's doing pretty well. Nice pace, not out of scratch on the nose in that Domino's Pontiac Solstice. But looking really, really good today. Let's go back up front with Jan Hoffman, currently our leader. Looks like Jack's going to try to make a move. Looks like he's going to get a little bit of a run. Jack got on the 22. He does have a run, but he's not going to have the optimal line. He's going to try to apex it. Looks like he might be able to get a run coming up onto this very hard braking zone up here. 8 minutes currently remaining, folks. Not a lot of time left in the short sprint race. Ooh, looks like he kind of gains a little bit, but just loses it. but he has definitely pulled the gap in. So we have a DH driver as well as a UK and IRL driver. So these two are from Europe, running on these American tracks, and they are the dominating force today, folks. Looks like Jack's trying to make another move, using that draft as advantage. Gonna have the inside line coming into turn one. He's gonna back out a little bit. No, Jack goes high. He's gonna try to look, and it looks like he might be able to get it. He's still on the outside for turn two. This is how it was last lap. They are side by side. Let's ride along with Jack as he's in this battle. Checks up a little bit, tries to get a draft in 0.5. He's gonna get a run. Looks like. They're side by side. STL class, these are the fastest cars out there. $6 minutes and 50 seconds remaining here in the first race for SCCI. Looking really, really good, these guys, as they lap Johansson once again. Folks, looks like, oh, folks, Django's off track right there. But, ooh. He's going to lose some time right there, going a little bit off track, doing a little bit of rallying. Let's take a look at this replay, folks, see exactly what happened here. Just ride along with them. So here he goes down the back stretch, loses to Jack, got around him, probably focusing on another car. And it looks like he just brakes way too much, cuts through the grass. Ooh. Very, very rough for him. Let's go back up live here. Running second, looks like that's going to separate the lead. Jack got him with a huge lead now, folks. Now that blue car, I do not know which Mazda that is. Oh, looks like Joe McDonald might have had some issues and allowed for Gary Anderson to take second, but Dan Cardio, just smooth sailing, no one in front of him, no one behind him, just relaxing for the last 5 minutes of this race, folks. We're going to get, I'd say, probably 4 laps, maybe, I believe, that we're going to have remaining here. 4 or 5 laps. Kids get around here in a minute and 11 seconds, give or take a little bit. So 5 more laps. Thank you for tuning in here today, but very great racing. Jacob Johansson in the Pontiac Solstice right here. Let's take a look at how he's doing. We haven't been focusing on him. Not a lot of he has no cars to really compete with, but he is just rolling as the Mazda of Cameron, or excuse me, the Mustang of Cameron Breyer gets around him. Looking great. The Grip TV machine. Rick James a little farther back, just coming out of turn one. And as he laps Robert Lundgren, Robert looking pretty solid, not a scratch in that AOD.net machine. As well as the Kias get back up front here. Looks like I just got around Dan Cardio. But the Kia's looking really, really strong today. Jack leading 10 laps out of the 17. These cars just keep turning laps and laps and laps with 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. And Jan Hoffman, very far back. Looks like he will finish in the second position unless Jack has some issues. But he's coming around. The leader of Dan Cardio. Great job by him, just dominating force today, folks. Great job by him. And that DC Shoes MX-5. This is an interesting view on the left front. See the tires working hard at work here around Summit Point. I just love the sound of these MX-5s. They sound really nice. They sound really, really cool. I love them. Back up front. Excuse me, what's the wrong button? Jack Godden. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Looks like we're going to have 2-3 laps, maybe max. But really no more battles shaping up here. Looks like pretty much our winners. Again, we got 4 of the 5 classes that showed up today. No STU driver said. The STU's Volkswagen Jetta, not a popular choice. But the MX-5s are just a complete dominating factor. I believe we have 13 MX-5s registered out of the 33 guys who registered, so way too many Mazdas. Isn't really a bad thing. These cars are really fun to drive. Very competitive too. They're very equal, so it's more of a skill thing than a setup thing. Let's get back up with our leader overall, Jack Godden, looking great. STL going around Robert Ludgen. With 2 minutes remaining, looks like we're going to get 2 laps, maybe 1 left. Now tomorrow, that is a 50-minute race or a lap race. No idea how long it's going to be, but the Kias will be, again, the dominating factor as it will be every week. Also, SCCI, 6-week season. We're going to run every single week, probably up till November. That's how long the season's going to go for. But very good schedule. All tracks in North America. It is truly a feat that we managed to put this together. Very great league. Everyone in the league's very happy, very nice. It's a great community we got around here. So if you guys want to join, just go over to iRacing, search SCCI on the league pages, and hit apply. Facebook.com/Sports Car Club of iRacing. Very good. As looks like Jack's gonna get the white flag this time. Now I don't believe who's gonna come across the line. I'm not exactly 100% sure of how the finishing is gonna work for the other classes. But I do believe once he gets the white flag, if he passes them, they're on the last lap too. I'm not sure though. I think that might be how it works, but not sure. I believe we're going to get the white flag this time, because they're going to have time to make another lap. We'll see here. Looks like we're going to go around one more time. 2 laps to go then. But Jack Godden dominating today. Started in 2nd position, came up all the way to 10th. Came up to 1st, led 13 out of the 20 laps. So, great racing by him. Kudos to him for keeping it together. He's a really talented driver. Running an SCCI here. Fallback to take up Cameron Breyer, currently leading in the Mustang. He's going to come and get his, I believe he's going to have to do 2 laps, I'm not sure, but we are no time, unless we're on the last lap right now. Again, I'm not sure how the iRacing handles the multi-class, but we'll figure it out. I believe they're going to get 1 to go, maybe 2, not sure. But back up front with Jack Godden, the man right here, leading 13 out of the 7 laps. That is double the laps that Jan led. Jan Hoffman though fell back a little bit. He is now 35 seconds behind the leader, followed by Thorstein, 30 seconds behind him. So the Kia is looking pretty staggered. Cameron Breyer leading. Rick James currently 28 seconds behind Cameron, and the Mazdas. Dan Cardio just dominating force, leading all the laps. Gary Anderson, Joe McDonald. It looks like Cameron just went off track a little bit, folks. This is going to shake things up. Oh, no, excuse me. The race is actually over. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like Jack did cross the line. Jack was our winner. I got a little bit distracted talking about all the other guys, but Jack Godden winning in STL for the first race. So congratulations to him. Let's let all the cars finish. I believe that they are all done. Yes, they are. Let's go through our results, folks. This should be very interesting to see where everyone finished. So results, after the first ever Sports Car Club of iRacing race, Jack Godden brings it home in the first position in overall as well as in STL, followed by Jan Hoffman, second place. Third place, Thorsten Helgeson. Fourth, we got Cameron Brer, finished first in the Touring 2 class. Fifth overall, Rick James finished second in Touring 2. Sixth, the Mazda squad, Dan Cardio, Gary Anderson, John McDonald, and Robert Lundgren. Those are your overall positions 6th through 9th, and they finished 1, 2, 3, 4 in T3. T4, Jake Johansson. Only car in T4 this today, but in the 86 machine, great job in that Domino's Pizza car. 4 laps behind the leader. And rounding up the field, Aaron Cummings must have had an issue he did not catch on camera, but he finished 5th and 11th overall in Touring 3. Anyways, everybody, thank you for stopping by and enjoying the SCCI Inside Sim Racing Touring Car Championship round run from Summit Point Raceway. I hope you guys stay tuned and check out some of the other races we're going to have, I believe, in 2 weeks. That is, what am I think here? That I believe is the week of the 14th. We'll be having round 2, which will be at Sebring. The first race will always be broadcasted on Sim Racing Streams. So, yeah, everybody, thank you for stopping in. Thank you for tuning in to Sim Racing Streams here. And I hope to see you guys soon. If anything else, just hit the follow button on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. Thank you for stopping by. Congratulations to Jack Godden for winning. My name is Kyle Straychards, and I'll see you guys in the next one.